Hi, I'm Chelsea.
And I'm Tony Northrup, and this week we have a lot of exciting news for you. Up first, I gotta talk about the new Nikon DF. The images just leaked. It's their new retro DSLR. It's really cool.
It does look cool. Speaking of Nikon, they're sending Tony and I some gear to try out, so we'll be going over that.
Yeah, we're getting some new stuff.
Yeah. We also just ended our October challenge, and we're picking a winner. The challenge was bananas, and you guys had some really creative pictures, so we'll show you who won and why.
Yeah. Chelsea's going to give a quick Photoshop tip. What's that on, Chelsea?
On how to make your picture have the matte effect. It's really cool and easy and fun to do.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
Yeah, it's cool.
And then, of course, we're going to go over our reader photos from this week, having a glass of wine and critiquing something like 60 photos. I know not everybody's going to want to sit through the whole thing. You don't have to. But do watch our news because we have some cool stuff to talk about.
All right, let's talk about what's new with us, Tony.
Well, we're developing a better relationship with Nikon, so they're starting to send us some gear. I feel like I've always been kind of endorsing Canon gear, but it's never been deliberate. I don't have a relationship with Canon. That's just what I've always used for my own commercial photography. So Nikon's sending us a couple of new cameras, including the new D610, which I'm really excited about. So we're going to give that a real thorough review compared to the Canon 6 and all the other cameras in the Canon and Nikon lineup. Chelsea, I know you and Samantha have been working up something new on Twitter. What are you guys doing?
Oh, Samantha started a Twitter page just for our book, Stunning Digital Photography. It's called SDP_Northrup. That's our handle. What she's doing is just tweeting little tips from our book, which I think is really cool. And she's also retweeting people's pictures if our book helped them take it. So if you have a picture that we helped you take with our book, just put it up on our Twitter page and we will retweet it and share it, get it passed around a bit.
Hey, if you have an iPad, you should check out Photography Masterclass magazine. Just Google it and look it up. But it's this really amazing and beautiful iPad-only magazine. And they often feature videos that we've created. We work pretty closely with them. Unfortunately, it's iPad only. I know everybody wants it on their Android or their PC or whatever, but sorry. But if you have an iPad, definitely check that out. I've also done interviews in the last week with a couple of pretty big media outlets. My friend over at Photography Talk spent more than an hour chatting with me. So that turned out to be a really cool interview, talking about the book and my experience as a commercial photographer and even as a model.
Tone, do you know when your Photography Talk interview is coming out?
No. But go over to our Facebook page, facebook.com/Northrup Photography, and just give that a like. And we'll post an announcement there when it's ready. Resource Magazine, a big magazine for photographers, also interviewed me just this afternoon. So there'll be an article in that magazine coming out pretty soon.
Why is everybody interviewing you? I'm the one with all the good ideas. What's up with that?
I don't know. Somebody interview Chelsea. She's feeling bad.
Yeah, interview me. I know some things. I have some interesting news. Nokia came out with a camera phone that's shooting RAW. It's the Lumia 1020.
Finally.
Yeah, and you can actually pull your pictures into Photoshop or Lightroom as DNG files and then edit the RAW files, which is cool because you can pull up the highlights better. It's just so much nicer to edit in a RAW file.
Yeah, I don't know why Apple doesn't give you that option. They don't even let third-party apps access the raw data. They only let them access the JPEG. And they're really kind of cheating us photographers that know how to edit our photos.
Yeah, I thought that was a great idea.
I wanted to follow up on the Adobe password leak. Just about all of us have an Adobe password, even if you're not a photographer, because you probably downloaded an Adobe Reader or something at some point, and their passwords got hacked. Now, we talked about this before, and we told you to change your password and such, but I don't know if you know, I have a little bit of a background in computer security, and so I took a look at the file that is leaked and basically readily available on the internet. And I want to give you a heads up. If you use that same password anywhere else, on any other website, you need to go change that password everywhere. I'm fairly confident the encryption is going to be really difficult for people to break, but what's in clear text in that password file is your email address and your password hints. And I looked at people's password hints, and they were not good. They would say things like, my social security number, my dog's name. So guess what? If somebody knows you and they want to hack you, they can grab this 9 gigabyte file, search for your email address, and then they'll know your password hint. And if you use that password elsewhere, even after you change your Adobe thing, they can go guess your password and get onto your Facebook or your bank account or whatever. And I know most people use one password for everything, and it's probably already obvious, and you probably have the answer to it in your Facebook page somewhere.
Yeah, we all know your dog's name and your birthday, so you need to pick a better password.
Yeah, some people even just put their password in the password hint field, but like with a space in there or a hyphen in there or something. So those people are in trouble.
I got some good news.
What's that?
The FAA is now allowing people to use gadgets during takeoff and landing, so we don't have to buy magazines anymore.
That's great news for those of us with ADD.
Yep, so you can take pictures, or you could just play whatever crummy game is addicting at the moment.
Well, you could read our ebook on your iPhone or iPad or any sort of tablet or e-reader.
That's true. Or you could watch videos from our new box set.
On sale for a limited time, use the coupon code PREORDER. Here's the news I'm really excited about. Nikon, their new DF camera, and this is a retro DSLR. So it seems to be a full-frame DSLR with the sensor from the D4, like a 16 megapixel sensor. It's not many megapixels, but they're huge pixels and super low noise. I think what's really noteworthy about this camera is the design of it. It has this very retro design, not unlike this Canon AE1 that I have. I wish I had a Nikon camera from the era, but I don't happen to. And these sorts of DSLRs were popular from the late 70s to the early 80s, and historically they were significant because this is the first like real camera that got into the hands of consumers. They started to add some auto exposure features, which were really important. And you'll see some of those design cues in the new Nikon DF. For example, on most modern DSLRs, you adjust the shutter speed or the aperture with like a thumb dial up here, your main dial, or on the back of the camera, and you view it using this digital display that's on the top. Well, the DF has a ring on the top to set the shutter speed mechanically like this. That's pretty cool. It also has a ring on the top to set the ISO. So I think that could actually be functionally really useful because you don't have to push a button and then scroll a wheel to change the ISO. There's just one button to do it. So my favorite things about shooting with all the old film cameras that I use isn't film. I kind of hate film, right? It's kind of a pain. What I love is the mechanical feel of things. I love the dials and the adjustments. So I hope this camera helps to capture some of that. Now, it uses all the Nikon modern lenses, which means we're going to be missing this like aperture ring that cameras from this era had. So you'll be able to set the shutter speed using a big button like this, but I think you're going to have to look at the LCD display to adjust the aperture. That won't be mechanical, so that's something lost, but they had to work with modern lenses, so what are you going to do?
One thing I like about the new Nikon DF, just from looking at it, is that it seems like it would be easy for a beginner to use. All of the dials are right on top. You can see the exposure compensation dial. You can see the ISO dial. Everything's right there. You don't have to flip through menus or press multiple buttons at once to get to some feature. So I think that's cool. It's easy and it's just very like physical. It seems like it would be easy to remember.
Yeah, and you know, I don't know yet. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that they did something interesting with the viewfinder because I so miss the like split prism and ground glass viewfinders in these old cameras. They made manual focusing so much easier. So come on, Nikon, give me an interesting viewfinder to look through and not the same old like electronic modern viewfinder. Here's my preview of the Nikon DF and my photography buying guide alongside all the other Nikon, Canon, and Sony cameras. You can see it's a beautiful, beautiful camera. There's going to be a kit option available that will include the new 1.18 50 millimeter normal. That's kind of a traditional lens for older cameras, so it makes sense that they would include it with the retro camera. Though, if you're spending that much, I'd go ahead and get the 50 f1.4 with it at least. There's this feature called exposure meter coupling. I want to describe that in a little more detail. Allow you to use the pre-AI Nikon lenses. They made those from 1959 to 1977. I don't know who cares to use those lenses. You can find them on eBay. I went looking for them, and you can get a 50 millimeter f1.4, for example, for less than $100, but you're probably not going to be happy with it. If you're looking to make like soft images and you love manual focusing and kind of terrible build quality, those are available, but if I were you, I'd stick to the newer lenses. I don't know why this is such a big selling point that you can use these 40-year-old lenses with it. But if you happen to have a collection, or if you just love a particular lens that's really old, I guess this is the camera for you. It also has this very novel shutter release mechanism. Novel, old, old school. It has a modern shutter release mechanism too, so you can still use wireless systems or whatever, but this is just a screw-in type mechanism that was traditional for cameras from the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. Here's what the focusing points look like. It has 9 cross-type sensors in the middle, and they're reasonably well spread out. It looks like they're not quite as well spread out as, say, a 5D Mark III, but it should work well enough for the type of photography that you're going to be doing with this camera. I also find it really interesting that they included the D4's sensor. This is going to be the biggest selling point for me. The D4 has this amazing sensor that is only 16 megapixels, but offers almost the same image quality as the D800's 30-something megapixels. It does this because each of the pixels is just beautiful, sharp, and almost noise-free. So you can get almost the same image quality with a smaller picture, which means you can unload your pictures faster, you can fit more pictures on a card, and they'll just be generally just cleaner and more beautiful, just quite a bit less detailed. By picking the DF over the D800, you're picking less detailed but cleaner images, and I think that's a good compromise for an awful lot of photographers, especially just general candid pictures of your family, as well as portraiture, maybe not so much for landscapes and wildlife, people who really love all that detail. I also have a section here in the buying guide that discusses some of the weaknesses, like the lack of video and the ergonomics. It's clearly not going to be as ergonomically optimized, since it's designed to be retro rather than designed using modern standards for ergonomics. And it's lacking niceties that competing cameras like the Canon 6D have, like GPS and Wi-Fi. Let's take a quick look at some of the other pictures on the Nikon website. This shows the dials in pretty good detail. You can see that it's available in 2 finishes, silver and black. Get the silver. The silver ones always age better, and this is definitely going to be a camera that you're going to want to keep for a long time. And the black ends up looking pretty old. They've made the LCD screen pretend to be like an 80s LCD screen for some reason. This is the back color display. That's silly. And I hate this little panel here. I know they have to show you the aperture since they need to allow you to use modern lenses that don't have aperture control, but that's just kind of ugly. And as you can see, that they left out video because it was too modern. They went ahead and included things like artificial horizons and levels and face detection. Anyway, that's a little bit silly. Here's some sample photos at different ISOs. And this is a really small picture, but you can see at ISO 12,800, it looks almost identical to the pictures taken at ISO 100. And that really is because the D4 and this new DF have just amazing sensors in them. Here's a peek at the internals. It's designed to be as weather sealed as the D800. And as we can see here, it supports focusing at f8 with some of the center focus points. So that's good if you want to use a teleconverter with a telephoto lens, as they show here. It can be good for wildlife, though I personally am not a huge fan of teleconverters. Here's one of Nikon's sample pictures. This is taken at ISO 3200, and as you can see, it's mostly about the sky, and it has just beautiful gradations. But I was particularly interested in this because skies have lots of solid colors, and they allow you to really see the amount of noise in the image. And gosh, we're looking at this for ISO 3200. It's really, really noise-free. It just looks great. And I know that with just a little bit of noise reduction, we could eliminate the noise. You can see in the shadows here, it might not be visible in the video, but to my eye, there's definitely a distinct amount of noise. You can't say it's noise-free at ISO 3200. No camera is, but this is better than just about any camera, especially the high megapixel Nikon cameras like the D800, which just have a ton of noise in them.
All right, so now I'm going to show you how to create a matte effect in Photoshop. It's really fast and easy, and I think it looks pretty cool. So I'm going to go to my desk and show you how to do that. So the first thing you'd want to do is go into the adjustments and add a curve layer. So click on the curves here, and you want to go to the left part and just raise it up a tiny bit. And you can see that just kind of raises the black points and gives it a more even tone. Now go to about the middle and pull it down just a tiny bit. The next thing you want to do is go into your adjustments again and open up a levels layer. You're only going to use this bottom slider here, and just take up the left side a tiny bit to your liking and take down the right side a bit, also to your taste. I wouldn't do it too much, it makes it too dark. There, that looks good to me. Now the last thing that I like to do is go into hue and saturation, make yet another layer, and then I like to play around with the colors a little bit and just see what kind of adds a better mood to the picture. So I'm going to go into the yellows and I'm going to go to the saturation. I like to bump it up to see which parts of the picture have the color that I'm messing with. And I'm going to bring down the yellow just a tiny bit. The next color I'm going to play around with is blue. So I'm going to take a look at the blues, raise them up, see what's going on, and it's really all in the metal of the picture. And I'm going to lower the blues to give the metal a cooler, smoother feel. That's all I'm going to do, and it's really easy, like I told you, and you can see that it takes your picture from, ooh, that's not quite right. Here we go. A high contrast picture to a matte, vintagey looking picture that I think really matches the mood of the photo.
And now let's take a look at our October challenge. This is a challenge for readers of the Stunning Digital Photography book, or those that have bought the DVD series from our website at sdpcommunity.com. Part of that is you get to participate in these monthly challenges and you get to submit these photos for reader review. So October was a really interesting challenge. It was bananas, and I thought these are my favorite photos of any challenge so far because people just got so creative.
Yeah.
So let's take a quick look at those photos and we'll announce our winner.
The person that we chose is Ray Skinner. And he took this really cute picture of a toy truck running over a banana. And what I loved about it was the storytelling. It was completely original. He thought to make the tracks of the car without the tracks, the story just wouldn't be there. And he sacrificed a banana for us, Tony.
Yeah, and I love just the story that he put into it. He must have inked up the tires on that truck and actually run it over. It was a well thought out picture.
Yeah.
There were so many honorable mentions, so we can't even go over everything because there were just so many
There were a lot
great
of good
photos. Wow, you know what? I hadn't even seen that one before.
That was cool. That was a multiple exposure shot.
Yeah, that's crazy. I also really liked this one here. He or she blended the lemon and the banana.
Yeah, that was a really cool one.
Cute. I love this Batman storytelling one.
You know, it was really tough.
It has a lot of depth. They threw the subject out of focus there.
That was a runner-up for me
shot.
because it tells a great story and they use depth, and that was also a great picture. But
we
Ray
have a lot more pictures over
Ray
there.
Skinner is going to win, and Ray, we're going to send you our 4 DVD set that we've been working on. People have been asking us for a whole video series, and we've been working really hard for about 5 months, and we're really excited to present it to you. So Ray, I'm really happy that you're going to be one of the first people to see it. So congratulations and good job on your picture.
I also want to show off a few pictures that we got on the SDP community site.
Oh yeah, we did.
This one is terribly cute.
It's a little
It cracks
obscene.
me up every time.
Not safe for work.
Yeah, we should put a fig leaf over that, I think. This is one of my favorites. Just look at this. I'm going to zoom into that.
That's a really good one too.
I just love the storytelling in here and the little construction guys going to town on the banana. I don't know. I think
I love the guy holding the piece of banana. That's so
this is
cool.
just really clever. I loved this shot.
It was
just
really
a
good.
Great shot.
It was such a tough
Banana
choice, this
demolition.
one. Everything was so original.
Let's see. There was something else I wanted to talk about. We got a couple of these, and they were very clever.
Those were cool. There was another one that really...
Oh, I also really liked...
Yeah. You know what, Tony? That looks a lot like you. Just
Look how cute
headphones
that is.
on.
Yeah, that's pretty much
And
what
the
I look
office
like
chair.
right now.
That's Tony. It just needs some gray hair. Congrats, and we're going to send you our 4 DVD box set. It's worth $74.99, so that's a pretty good prize, and I hope you enjoy it.
But if you didn't win, you can get it for under $50 by using the coupon code pre-order now, at least until those come in. They'll come in just a couple of weeks, so hurry and get on that. Up next, we are going to review your reader photos. So grab a cup of coffee or wine and sit back and just listen to us review and edit photos. If you want to submit your own, you can do it from the pictures menu at sdpcommunity.com, assuming you bought our book or DVD set. This is a really cute picture. Perfect low-key background, not a flaw that I see. Great flag in the foreground here. I love the camo. I don't know, what could we possibly contribute to this picture? It looks wonderful. Nothing. Chelsea's got nothing. Beautiful picture. Congrats. Nicely done. Great light. Perfect exposure.
Wait a minute. You brushed me through that.
Did you have something to say about the baby?
The baby looks a little red to me.
Oh.
I feel like
what, you
I
think
have
white
to
balance
be-
might be off?
I feel like I have to be picky because I feel like they're submitting this for some negative feedback. So, yeah, I feel like maybe this baby's a little red. Maybe it's a red baby, in which case I apologize. Whoa.
Where do you think this should be? You know what? We can do custom white balance off the flag.
This isn't going to end well. Now you've got an orange baby.
Yeah, it's, you know what? Custom white balance doesn't work that great.
It doesn't. I have never been really happy with what's happened.
All right, so you think that's a little bit better?
Okay. Whatever you say.
I was happy with it to begin with.
Okay. This makes me want to go on vacation.
Yeah, this is nice. We have a silhouette here, a nice beach scene, rule of thirds reflecting water. I think overall it's a good picture. You know, I think...
Feels a little unbalanced. Is the person too far to the left for you?
I was okay with that. You know, maybe if you were to move them over a little more rule of thirds, it might work a little better, but maybe not. Maybe they tried both and decided that they liked her pushed over to the left.
Okay.
I think it's all right.
I think it's good.
I wonder if maybe the horizon would have added some depth into the picture if they just crouched down a little bit.
They look like they're on a hill.
Yeah, I do get that feeling, like they're kind of looking down at it.
Yeah, but it's an interesting picture. I agree. It's nice.
I like it. I like the
colors.
monochromatic nature of it. Yeah, and I love the way the sparkles here kind of lead your eye down. I like this picture.
You love sparkles?
I'm totally into sparkles.
On the record.
Oh, wow.
This man met Jesus.
This is a great shot because they saw the God rays and they capitalized on them. They're like, I got to get this. But they also added something to the picture. They're like, we can add one other thing to the picture. I have a person here with me. You can be a model. So they brought this person in and made an impromptu model. And this person here really adds everything to the picture, because I see so many pictures that are just God rays and you see something cool in the sky and you take a picture of it, but you capture it perfectly. But if you want your picture to stand out, you go that one step beyond, and this person did that. So this impromptu modeling here really makes a difference in this picture. It's a great shot.
I think this picture is cool. I would play around with it. The picture is so surreal that I think that I might mess with the colors or something a little bit.
Yeah, I was just thinking the
It's a
same
little
thing
dark.
too. What if I...
Shadows get a little dark on that tree in the foreground.
you think? Put it here?
I like it before. But you know what? I might play around with taking the orange out of his backpack straps.
Yeah, that orange is a bit
Those
much,
are
isn't
calling
it?
me.
Let's get rid of those.
See that?
Yeah, you're right. That was distracting me.
What'd
That was
you
an
say?
easy fix. You're right.
What about his blue jeans? Hey!
I was already on it.
Thinking the same. I love this picture. Oh, did you just do what I think you did? This looks great.
Yeah,
Let's
you know.
not touch it anymore.
All right.
That is so good.
Great shot.
Let's put our watermark on it.
Little flower photo took that. I did not turn this into black and white. It came this way.
Cool picture.
Yeah, it really is. I'll show a little more of it.
Very nice indeed.
Yeah, just really powerful lines here, and they all lead right here. The only downside is everything goes here, and then there's no payoff. There's nothing here.
We need
but
that guy, the guy from the last picture.
yes, bring that guy in. Oh, I so
was
want
great.
to. If this were Photoshop, I'd copy him to the clipboard and just paste him into every picture. Sometimes you just need a focal point. We do cover that in chapter 2 of Stunning Digital Photography. So check it out. And often you have to add your own focal point once you find the scenery.
What?
Wow. All right.
This is impressive.
This is
pulling
in
your
a
mind.
zoo enclosure or something, right? Because this does not look like a functioning automobile.
Oh,
maybe
you're right. Well,
it looks like the roof of a car. That maybe it's just a support for the
no, but
lion.
you nailed it because look at the water in the background. I think there's like a little trough in there, or like a tube or something. See?
Well, we don't want to blow his whole cover. It was good. You don't have any bars. You can't readily tell that it's in a zoo.
I don't think it's it. Maybe it's not. Look
I think
at
the
the
colors are a
background. It goes
little
on forever.
oversaturated, like the greens feel a little rich to me. I'm just going to make it a little more natural. But you're right. If it's a zoo, then you have a fantastic view from
I
that
don't
zoo.
know if it is. I think this man lives with lions, and they took over his car.
This could just be his drive to work. This could be the guy in front of him, and the lion just cleared the car out, ate everybody.
Hey, this looks a little grainy to me. Let's put the luminance up a little bit.
What? The luminance? The noise reduction luminance. That's what you mean.
Yeah, boy.
I'm just not seeing any noise, but your wish is my command, so I feel like that just makes everything less sharp.
That makes everything else smoothie. I don't like it. Oh, there we go. That looks better.
You think? I'm not convinced.
See what I did? Ta-da! Let's go. This picture
Patterns.
has a lot
This
of...
is a great example of both patterns and reflections. I like this. I like this for what it is. It's just a perfect pattern. And I don't actually think it needs anything else. I love this nice red line here. I love the starburst that these made.
It's an interesting picture.
Here's a little bit of trivia. Whether in movies or still photography, you can count the aperture blades in the lens by the number of different either sections in any reflection or little starbursts here. So this lens, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 aperture blades. There's actually a lot. Most lenses only have like 8.
That's rude, Tony. Everybody knows not to count another person's aperture blades.
Yeah, I didn't get the metadata on this shot, unfortunately. But I love the white balance here. They clearly had to adjust the white balance to get it nice and white. I love this shot. I really do. Chelsea, anything to contribute?
I'm jealous that you love it so much. We just recently got married and you're already loving other stuff. And that is life, I guess. Look at this kid. He's in baby prison.
This shot is really cute. I feel like I want to, let's crop this down to regular photo proportions and go vertical with it.
I can tell this baby's rich.
What makes you say this baby's rich? Because of his fancy jewelry?
Yeah. He has fancy rich baby jewelry.
So I just cropped it to pull you into the subject a little bit tighter. I don't know. Do you agree with that, Chelsea?
No.
No? You're mistaken, though. I just checked.
No, I like the negative space in the first picture. Because then, see? It's the rule of space, Tony. He's looking into something. And you realize he's looking through a little crack in a fence. When you crop it like that, I just don't know what's happening. I respectfully disagree.
All right. I'm staying on the side of the crop, but you, the listener, be the judge.
You know what? In Focus with Bartholomew, you're going to comment and you're going to tell us who's right. And I'll give you $1 if you say I'm right. What's this spooky scene?
Well, first, just as a night photographer, we both know that the sky ends up being really weird colors if there's a city anywhere nearby, because it reflects all the weird city lights. And you'll get this like purple or orange, though I do think the colors have been changed on this photo a little bit.
There's a lot of green.
I think you pulled the white balance in to kind of balance the artificial lights that are on this tree here.
He bumped up the green.
Oh, you think you bumped the saturation up?
I know, because I've done it, and it looked just like that.
But this is a compelling shot. We have a clear subject here. I'll say I think these lights here are distractions. I'd love to just get rid of these.
Aren't you going to count his aperture blades?
I feel like you're being sarcastic about that.
I'm teasing you because I love you. That's what friends are for.
All right, so
It's a cool picture.
I'm just eliminating a couple of distractions. I think. Well, why would you pull it from that? All right, there we go.
Ooh.
This too, I can't help myself. For after, just makes you focus on the subject there.
Okay. Well, this is wonderful framing.
Yeah, like an example of framing. We have everything here. We have the framing, and then we have a line that leads your eye to something. There's a reward. The detail in the sky that they pulled out is fairly remarkable too. You think it's an HDR shot?
Clock. It's definitely somewhere in America, because America is wonderful. I'm just teasing the Brits. I love to tease the Brits.
No, this is Big Bill. It's in Houston.
Oh, Big Bill. That's in Texas.
Yeah. People love it when we guess incorrectly about locations.
We're really bad at it. We're making all the Americans look bad.
So I am not sure if the sky is the result of HDR processing or if it's just a different sky that's been brushed in from a different picture. But
no, this is for real.
But watch the borders there, whether you're pulling the exposure down or brushing something else, and you can see some hard edges there, and it kind of gives you away. Spooky. Well, we've had Halloween here in the U.S. Right away I want to crop it. I feel uncomfortable with this up at the top. And clearly we know our focal point here are these two maniacs. Looks like they're on a subway, just causing trouble. Makeups. Yeah, these ladies are a problem. I'm going to pull the exposure up a little bit, just bring that histogram more into line.
They have some really deep shadows in those eyes.
Yeah, and
that might work because they look a little sinister.
She's dressed up for a nice night on the town. She got a tie on. Like she went formal with it. She got a formal nose ring in too. Well, this is a minor point because it's a candid shot, and so you can forgive a lot. But I'll say, if you have more than one person in a photo, be sure to crank that aperture up, because you're not going to get enough depth of field to get her eyes in focus and her eyes in focus. And you can see here, it'll bump most people that she's a little bit out of focus. We can tolerate a little bit of out of focus, but yeah, just give that f-stop a couple of stops higher.
Wow.
Some dancing statues. And we've talked about how hard statues can be to photograph, because you really have to add something beyond what the original artist did.
What is this about? I'm actually just fixated on the statues. Are these musicians? I see like a guy like in the background. He seems like a drummer. Go to the next guy. He's playing some kind of flute.
Yeah, you think this guy's like
stabbing himself.
Playing a trumpet.
Oh, I thought it was dying. Those are scary.
Yeah, they're dancing or something.
Statues are very, very difficult to photograph. We talked about this before. And it's hard because you're taking a picture of art. So there's something kind of lost in the photograph. The statue is meant to be seen in person. So you really have to add something new to it. It's hard. But I like this.
And I will talk a little bit about the rule of space. So you can see, I think there's a little more space behind this guy than there is in front of this guy. And the rule of space wants more room in front of where they're looking.
Yeah,
so,
they're all facing to the left.
So. Yeah, I think we could have left a little more room in front of him here. So I'll just try to do that with a little bit of cropping. But, you know, it's better to get it during your initial composition.
Terrifying. You know what? Do you see the lights on the floor? Maybe this would have popped at night.
Yeah, this might be a great spot to return to at night.
Yeah, you return.
Some light painting in there, you know, highlight them in different colors or add something with the light. Mm-hmm. Some good idea, but I think it's a great spot. Who's this rotund fellow?
He's cute.
Yeah, he is cute.
So it's a little, the depth of field is very shallow. He must be small.
Yeah, and I don't think there's any reason, because it seems like we have a background with no distractions. You know, You use a short depth of field when you want to blur the background because you have stuff you don't like in the background. If you have a clean background, crank that f-stop way up and get a nice sharp photo. You could be at f11 because there's nothing you need to blur out. And here the low depth of field is definitely causing some distractions here because it's a wicked short depth of field. Maybe it's really tiny, like it's maybe think this might be a macro shot.
Tiny. Yeah, I think it's very, very tiny.
Yeah, because this depth of field is outrageously small. Like look how blurry his ear is.
Blurred, and then yeah.
But I love the monochromatic nature of it.
I do. I like that it's monochromatic.
So chapter 12 macro shows you. I mean, besides using a high f-stop, if it's really that small and I can't exactly tell. But you could do
back up and zoom in if you have a zoom lens, right? That help a little.
Well, that would make it a shallower depth of field. Yeah, you'd want to get closer.
But that would blur the background so that you could.
Oh yeah.
Make a bigger f-stop.
You could also do focus stacking.
Yeah, but come on, Tony. We have jobs.
Okay.
We can't all just go around focus stacking.
Guys.
Level your horizon. That's what Tony's going to say.
Yeah, it's me. I know. Nobody else cares about the horizon as much as I do, but
people do. You're just a
that
weird.
bumps me. I can spot a out of level horizon from a mile away.
It's your very lame superpower.
Yeah. It will never get me anywhere. But so this is a fantastic spot. We do have an interesting sky. We have some God rays going on out there. I feel like this is a landscape, and I feel like it's one of those spots that you have to return to like season after season, day after day, hour after hour, just to find like the time that maybe the sun is rising over
nice
here.
God rays, though.
Yeah, that is nice. But I feel like it needs one other thing. A flock of geese flying through here.
You know what I thought immediately?
A dead guy. What did you think?
Llama.
Yeah, llamas?
In the foreground.
Yeah.
Just poking his head up. Like, aren't we on an adventure? Just think about it.
Yeah, so the next time, just bring llamas.
You just think.
You got your ND filter, your tripod, and your llama.
Can't go wrong. I think they're affordable. Another picture of Big Bill?
Houston is a beautiful city.
Houston's you know what? That's why I love the United States. It's just beautiful. Big Bill everywhere.
Yeah, it is the only country.
We're gonna be so hated.
So this is a perfectly done night shot. The white balance is about the best that you could possibly do with all these different colors.
Perfectly done. The clock is totally blown out.
Oh.
I know.
You're right, and that you know what, that is where my eye immediately went with this clock, and the
right
clock
away.
is overexposed. So
Everything to the left is properly exposed. You can see the buildings properly exposed. Everything else looks good, but the focal point is not.
So dynamic range is one of the biggest challenges with night photography in a city, and the way you overcome this really is with HDR. And I never take a city shot at night when I don't bracket. Sometimes I just use one exposure. Sometimes I have to go into HDR and actually blend them. But here, you definitely could have gotten that tower looking nice and natural and not blown out with HDR. You can also just shoot raw and try to recover the highlights. That might be enough. You have to look at your histogram really closely and kind of know your camera, because cameras deal with raw files differently. But you might have been able to recover that and seen the detail in the face. We need to see those numbers.
We need to see numbers. Also, I don't know.
This is good though. You don't need to recover that.
I don't know if they know what HDR is. We have a chapter in our book.
Chapter 11 of
Chapter
Stunning
11,
Digital
forgot which
Photography.
chapter. And that will tell you how to bracket the photos. It's not very difficult. It's actually really easy. So you can try that.
But overall, I like the composition here. Like these trees are making a nice line, and everything is leading your eye over here. I love the line of this light and this. Great composition, great spot. Just watch the exposure. And also look at, there's a whole lot of noise in the shadows here, and that's going to happen. You know, they ran into a problem. They overexposed this, and these backgrounds here are just shadow noise. So HDR will fix all of that. It's kind of, it has to be in your tool belt for night photography.
I also really dislike being in this position where we have to be critical of a picture we have no background on. I mean, they might not have had a tripod. This could be the first night picture. I don't know.
Well,
but I'm just saying, I'm just clarifying, I just want them to grow, and that's why I'm pointing it out. These are the same mistakes I made in the beginning, but I had nobody to tell me, hey, just do this.
Yeah, we could cover all the things he did right. It's nice and sharp.
It
is. Right away. 90% of night shots I see, they're shaky. People, or they have a ridiculously high ISO because people didn't want to like bring a tripod out, or their tripod was shaky. You got all the technical parts right. Your composition is beautiful. So yeah, the more nitpicky we are, the better a compliment it is, because we're struggling to find something to say about your picture. It's not like, oh, it's out of focus.
This picture's cool.
Yeah, this is a cool shot, and I almost like the starkness of it.
Yeah, I do too. It makes me feel lonely, like this abandoned vehicle. It's so artistic and deep.
Yeah, so a lot of the times I'll recommend picking a smaller detail, like picking this blown out light and zooming in on it, or some other aspect of it, the rust or the way this wheel well is sunk into the ground. But you know, the wider composition, the square composition with it centered in the frame, this helps to reinforce the starkness of it. In fact, I almost want to blow out the sky completely and just lose that detail.
Oh, I don't.
You
I just would
really
not
like the
change a
detail
thing.
there.
I really like this picture.
Yeah.
In fact, I might bring a little detail out in the sky. You could try that now by lowering the highlights.
That's me trying to blow the sky out completely and just make it more stark.
See, I think technically it makes it more stark, but then I think the brightness is fighting with the car.
I'm just going to make it completely. This is just an experiment. I'm going to go completely square because I think this picture is about starkness and loneliness and abandonment. So I'm going to
that idea for me.
Center it.
Give me $1. All right.
I don't know.
No, I don't think it's wrong. See, that's the thing. I think it's open to interpretation. Now, I would have gone with their crop and then brought out the clouds just a tad.
Yeah, and you know what else? I almost want to see this picture as part of a set, like a series of abandoned cars. And then, it's an artistic judgment. Like, what do you mean by it? What are you trying to communicate to people? And so you could take the same picture and process it in different ways because you want to communicate something differently. This is a beautiful picture. Wow. It's almost spot color. I gotta say it.
Don't you dare say that about this picture.
Oh, I think it might be spot color.
It's not.
You think that's just the natural colors?
Yeah, you see the little tiny pieces in the pavement? They have colors in them.
Yeah, but they're all red. I think you might have just left the red in.
You tell us, future members.
I'm fine with it. I didn't mean it as an insult. I love this picture. Off-center composition. Two beautiful subjects. The water is great. I love the darkened corners. Do you like borders like that?
I mean, let's undo it, and then I guess we'll know.
All right, fine. I'll get rid of this watermark too. What do you think? Big borders, no borders.
Let's see that one more time.
Better here.
You know what? I have to say, I like it better without the borders, but at the same time, the borders made their picture stand out. So I'm just going to let them choose on that one. I'm not going to be the border judge here. I like the picture. This picture's tricky because it was very dark. So they got a lot of camera shake.
Yeah, we can see that the pot here is moving in that. That reveals shaking camera because we know the pot's not going anywhere, right? But at the same time, the subject is close to the fire. But the pot, I think, is an important part of the story because the flame by itself is not an interesting subject. So right away, there's a lot of negative space over here that kind of unbalances it. The main subject here is in the center, which isn't necessarily ideal unless you're trying to communicate something about it. So I'll just pull it in and zero it in on the subject that we think is compelling. Bringing it a little off-center definitely helps, I think. In fact, I'm going to pull it even closer to the third. So camera shake aside, better here, better here.
I like it cropped tight.
Yeah. Yeah, we can see some detail on there. And I'll pull the shadows up just a little because in the initial exposure, I had a hard time kind of making out what this was. I really had to study it. But so this is a bit of storytelling. You're telling a story of people camping and heating up some water for coffee or maybe just drinking the next day to sterilize it. I love the nice warm color. That's perfect for this kind of shot.
One thing that I will add is that when you're thinking artistically about a composition and the subject is a little bit unclear, like this pot, it would have helped to just turn it in profile a little bit more to accentuate the spout and the handle.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, good point.
And then you have more of like an idea of the pot, and it's easier to decipher what it is. I learned that from Grandma Moses.
I also cranked up the noise reduction a little bit just because upon close inspection it got really noisy. So here we are before and here we are after. But as Chelsea says, there's only so much we can do with cropping and processing. Like you have to be there. It's your job to put the story together. And sometimes as a photographer, you get in the frame and you don't just capture things the way they are. You move them around a little bit.
I like what's different. Oh, another flame picture. Yeah. I was going to say, we don't often see flames. And then, bam, what's even going on here?
So these fire dancers are amazing subjects. And some of the problems that you run into is a bunch of idiots in the background like screaming with their Mai Tais. or of course motion blur or camera shake. And so no technical challenges here whatsoever. It looks to be perfectly sharp.
This man is Hawaiian.
I'm not touching that one.
The Hawaiians have wonderful cows. Polynesian. Yeah, cool picture. Black and white.
I love it. Oh, really?
No, maybe
this
not.
is
The
a
warm.
huge.
You're right.
No. You know what? That looks pretty good,
That
actually.
looks good.
But I love the reds. That just tells the story of the fire so well. I love that shot. I can't think of a thing to say about it. It's
Super
great.
cool.
You did it. You got it.
Look at this little cat.
Oh, this is a story of longing.
This is a story of hunger.
Why would you get this and just tease me with it? It'd be like if we set up a locked bar in front of Chelsea.
What? That was a cruel joke. Yeah, why would you do this to this cat? It's like a closed buffet.
So I can't think of anything to say about this picture. So I'll just bring up that if somebody's eyes are in the picture and they're not looking at the camera, then it's a leading line. You immediately look at what they're looking at. That's just what we all do. So your eyes go to this cat's eyes and then they go over here. And there's something here to reward us. I see so many pictures where their eyes are pointing off and then there's nothing over there. We know it's looking at
Let's
the
try
fish.
in black and white. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that works a lot
You
too.
know why? Let me explain. I thought that everything in the tank was too colorful and distracting. And now the first thing we see is the cat's eyes, and then we go to where the cat's eyes are looking, and everything else just falls away.
So like a lot of black and white shots, if you want to do this in black and white, I'd pull it into Photoshop and do some selective dodging and burning. Selectively brightens or darkens different parts of the pictures. And the parts of the picture I'd like to see accentuated by brightening them, by dodging them, are the cat's eyes, because that's where our eyes go, and then these fish, because these are the subjects. So everything else can be burned in, darkened a little bit, but we need to see the cat's eyes and the fish, just a touch of it, I think. Wow, beautiful, nice, clean shot. Everything's over here, but I love the balance of it. Look at that straight horizon. Everybody can learn from this person's horizon.
No one can seduce you quite like a straight horizon.
I would have loved to have seen this with a higher f-stop number, because these sticks in the sand over here, this kind of makeshift fence, is a little more out of focus than I'd like, because that is kind of a focal point.
It belongs in like a Bible.
Yeah, you know, this should be on a poster with like a set of footsteps going here, and why did the footsteps disappear? Jesus was carrying me. I don't remember the whole poem, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, you hate God and you hate Jesus.
False. There are some technical issues with the picture. There's, well, this is out of focus. There's a lot of noise back here, but the composition is beautiful. What is with all these spots? I don't know if this person has the dirtiest sensor. I think they might have dragged their camera through the sand or something. Well, but you see all these little spots, right? That's not... I've never seen this in a picture before. I'm not sure what this is.
That's when God was carrying you. Come on.
You know, those spots are completely in focus, which makes me think they're not on the lens, they're on the sensor. So do me a favor, Chapter 5 of Stunning Digital Photography, or our Fixing Camera and Picture Problems DVD, both available at svcommunity.com. Check them out and clean that sensor. I'll show you exactly how to do it, and it'll fix it. You can do it in post too, but it would take you a lot longer than just getting it right. I think there's also some noise that you could just fix with some noise reduction. Maybe I want to raise the contrast a little. That's better, right?
Yeah.
All right.
This place is beautiful.
Yeah, it is. This is like the week of God rays.
I want to be there.
You have no really, because the first thing I thought is just so unbalanced. Like I see this, the left side of the picture has so much weight, and in fact, the focal point, the sun, is just barely on the left of the center. Here's the center.
All I can see. Do you think this person invited us to their house?
We're gonna go stay with some people, and we haven't figured out who exactly yet. So I kind of want to pull this into to balance it a little bit better. I think that helps. But I love the colors. I can see that the colors have been brought out a little bit, but the sky is just gorgeous, and the blues and the golds, just fantastic. Really nice. That's all I got.
Yeah.
Oh, he's
the
sweet.
cockapoo. Paul Crane. He's my friend.
And this is Archie the cockapoo.
This is a great.
I know that
picture,
because I read
Paul.
that down there.
I really like it. I don't have anything to add to it. Do you, Tony?
Yeah, it's a little underexposed.
How could you do this to Paul?
I wouldn't mind seeing it cropped a little tighter.
Hey, that's good. Maybe just cropped out his name. Oh, that's cute.
Let's see. Better here, better here.
All right, you did it. Let's move on. Good job, Paul.
Holy cow.
Oh my God, he has an eel?
Yeah, it looks like a scarlet ibis with an eel or a snake, or I don't even know. I would think that stripe would identify it to me. It looks like a massive loach or something to me, but
okay.
I'm not sure. A beautiful, fantastic shot, yeah, perfect light. You have the sun to your back, which you were in the right spot, and you waited and waited for the moment. What do they have to do?
In the background. Crazy noise in the background. So
chapter 8 of Studying Digital Photography, there's a video called Editing Wildlife Photos, and I show you exactly how to selectively remove the noise, because if I just crank the noise reduction up here, the subject gets softer. You can see, like, before, look at the feather detail here, and I'll crank this up. Well, it can be hard to see in a video, but noise reduction softens detail, and that's really bad for wildlife photos. So what you want to do is just select the background. I show you how to do it in that video. It's long to go into here. Anyway, I love the shot. I can tell you put in weeks of work to get this. This is the result of massive amounts of patience.
It's a great shot.
Yeah. Gotta zoom back on that. Oh, it's cute. So the white balance is off here. We can fix that. It's a little warm. He's adorable. What is this guy? A gecko? So beyond just taking a picture of the lizard,
crop it.
They waited until they found the right moment, and wildlife photography really pays off with patience, because otherwise it would have just been a snapshot. But Sarah here waited until he was licking his eye, and that's what made all the difference. So you just want to, you like the horizontal crop, or do you want to go vertical with it?
I like the horizontal. I just thought that we could focus more on the parts that are in focus. Right there.
Yeah, you're right. There's a lot of it that's not in focus. Boy,
he's so cute.
I guess I just need to pull this a little towards green. Yeah, all right.
That's a little, okay.
I'm working on it. Okay, so there's a little more natural color.
Good job,
I want to
Sarah.
bump the contrast up a little exposure.
Wow. She got the eye in focus, which can be so difficult when you're focusing on something really small.
Yeah, and I wouldn't mind seeing this with a higher f-stop number, because look how shallow that depth of field is. This happens when you're working up close like that, but you nailed the focus. But
yeah,
look, the eye is perfectly in focus, and then this part right here
the more
is complete.
I look at it, the weirder it gets. Look at his creepy little tongue.
This is some super shallow depth of field. Yeah, even though wildlife photos are almost photojournalistic in that you want to like not edit them, you should. This is before and this is after. Oh, this kid is adorable. I'm going to crop this down too, because his eyes are so low in the frame, and there's a lot of space up here, which is just not this baby's adorable face. We just need to see a hint of the hat. So I'm going to pull that in a little bit, push him a little more towards the left so it's not quite so on the ball. Let's do the food check. All right, baby's got a clean mouth.
Clean baby.
Yeah, this is a remarkably clean baby. They ran him through the car wash or something, right? Look at those gorgeous eyes. Wow, really nice light. Looks like a big old softbox lighting the baby. Looks like a softbox and then like an incandescent light in the room. or maybe it's just a big window, I'm not sure. Wow, perfect focus. I love the depth of field, nice clean background. There's hardly anything to say. Like I said, I'm suggesting a crop. I wouldn't mind seeing some noise reduction on the background here. Again, you can watch the editing wildlife photos video. I know it's not a bird, but it applies. It's just selective noise reduction.
You cracked yourself.
Fantastic shot. And you know, I see this empty right side of the histogram here, and it makes me want to fix it, but I won't touch the exposure. It looks perfect, yeah.
It's properly exposed.
Goats.
Goats. I like it.
Yeah, there's a lot of depth to this picture because it's shot with a wide angle up close to the subject.
Yeah, it's an interesting picture.
Really adorable. And they're doing something. That's important. They're eating. They're in a line. Yeah, it's really cute. No,
Cute.
You nailed it. Congrats.
This is an interesting picture. Look, ballerina on a beach with a balloon.
Yes.
So much alliteration.
Thank you. You made a story. You came up with a concept. It's not like they were just like,
What's
hey,
the
let's go to the
story?
beach. Oh, I happen to be wearing a ballerina's outfit and carrying a balloon. No, they planned this out. They were there at sunset with this. They positioned the sun very carefully. This is a thought out picture, and I just appreciate it. So thank you for putting the time in. You know, I feel like I got to level that horizon. It's almost there.
Crazy.
Just a couple of degrees out. There we go.
Oh,
That makes all the difference to me.
okay.
I love it. I almost want to see more of that sun. I'm going to play with the exposure.
Well, if you put it up too bright, you're cutting off her head.
What do you mean I'm cutting off her
now
head?
she has a ray going through her neck, and it looks like her head is severed from her body.
Well, I would never want to do that.
No, I know, and that's why I'm warning you. You know, if you don't want to do that, you should really consider your choices with exposure. I want to play with the colors. It's
Yeah,
a
you
little
know-
too warm for me.
Oh, really? Wow. It completely changes the picture just to pull it a little bit cooler, don't you think? It is so monochromatic. Boy, it just like changes the whole meaning of it. Oh, what do you think about a little warmer there? I feel like I could spend hours just tweaking this photo. I'm not... yeah. I can't say. I love the picture as it is. Should we look at the shadow detail, see if there's anything good in there? No. Pull it back down.
Yeah.
Anything? I love it. Great. Nicely
it.
done. Thank you for putting together a story and planning out a shot. Babies.
Babies are cute.
Oh, good. Another team. Mark and Colette.
Oh. I don't know why, but I love husband and wife teams. I hope they're husband and wife. That could make things weird.
Yeah, you really jump into assumptions
Okay,
there.
let's crop this down.
I know. I was thinking the same thing. There's just too much negative space around the baby. We don't need all that.
We don't need all this
fur and
negativity
carpet.
around a baby. What a nice picture.
Is it only me who's focused on it's Mark and Colette photography, but the initials here say MCT? Is that a T? Or is that just a design element? I'm just like, what's the T for?
Their last name is T.
Well, they need to put the T word down here.
Well, we're not judging their work.
Because I see Mark and Colette photography.
No,
It should be
that's up to
MCP, or they should just go MC.
That's up to them.
Either their last names are important or it's not.
I'm not getting into all that.
Yeah.
Let's
We're
just focus on the
design
baby.
consultants now also.
No, we're not. I don't know about that. Let's just focus on this cute baby.
Well, beautiful shot. I love the angel wings. This is a big part of being a family portrait photographer, is getting these sorts of props. The carpeting here, the angel wings, the headband. You're right. I'm, kind of a biologist. I should have recognized the difference between angel wings. Angel wings have a single segment. Butterfly wings have multiple segments like this.
You know what? I feel like it's a bit monochromatic.
I was thinking it was a bit warm. A bit monochromatic. Oh, so you want to put some brighter colors on her?
I don't know. I was wrong.
Nah, it's good.
It's good.
Great, nicely done.
Oh no. Why did someone do this to this poor dog? Let's crop it.
Yeah, well, we'll crop it, and also your subject's right here in the middle, and we can do a little bit better than that.
Oh, his mom is never coming back. That's the impression that I get.
What are you talking about? This guy's going to work. He's stuck in traffic. He's just like, oh, when are we gonna get out of here? He's looking over to the fellow driver for some companionship. Like,
at 9.
am I right, bro? We're just stuck in traffic like sheep.
It's so cute.
Yeah, he's cute.
This is perfect.
I have taken more than a few pictures of dogs in cars too. I love it when because it's not, they climb in the driver's seat like right away. Like, I'm gonna be just like my dad.
Okay.
He's cute. He or she. So just cropping it down, taking the subject out of the middle of the frame. Fantastic shot. Love the monochromatic nature. And the offset rule of thirds. Great planning. You planned around the sunset, and their silhouettes are just perfect. You told a story with it. You lined it up to show the baby bump. I really want to bring those blacks down, though, don't you think? Don't you want to make that a proper silhouette?
That's too dark.
No.
I disagree. Let's fight. Let's fight in front of the world, Tony.
How?
You're wrong.
Well, say when.
Well, I like that.
Right here?
Yeah. Because you can see the reeds. They're lit up by the sun. There's not too much detail lost.
So that's Chelsea's vote. I want to go a little more intense with it.
You know?
And
do what you do, baby.
Also, I know they're not models with a wardrobe budget or anything. They're young parents, but the stripy outfit's kind of bugging me.
They didn't know
That's
it was
part of why.
silhouette.
That's part of why I want to go deep with it. Yeah. Well, yeah. As a portrait photographer, one of the things we always do is we tell people like, wear plain colored clothes, and they never do. You don't control their wardrobe. They really do whatever they want.
Okay.
Anyway, fantastic shot on the part of the photographer. I wouldn't blame you for their outfits. I will say
Sounds like you.
I'd bring this into
What?
to Photoshop, or you can do it in Lightroom too, and just bring up these reeds some more. This is part of the story. So bring up these midtones and shadows in the reeds.
This is Giselle's picture, and I love it.
Oh,
I
is
saw
it?
this when she first posted.
Yeah, she does amazing street photography, and it's really funny that you are recognizing her work. I actually like this guy's grin back here. I don't know what he's grinning about,
those
but
girls are cute. Let's go to New York and take pictures with Giselle. She's so cool.
all right, I'm in.
I'm in first. Just walk in.
Perfect
criticism.
exposure, so much whites, great story. Again, with the eye contact, you can't see her eyes, but you look at her, and then your eyes go over here, and it's perfect. I just love this shot. I love her hand with the cigarette. I love her tattoo there. Everything about this is great. Yeah. Congrats, Giselle. I love this grinning guy back there.
Cool framing.
Framing, yes.
I would crop out the black a little bit.
You think there's a bit much? Yeah.
Just
Maybe pull it a little tighter. Just on the sides? We could go square with it?
Yeah.
All right. I do feel like you have to...
Or mimic the shape of the window. Like a little rectangular.
All right. I always feel compelled to stick to one of the like standard shapes, either the 35mm frame or go to 1:1, but...
If you want to do that, that's you.
No, I'm willing to give this... I'm going to unlock that cropping tool. And I'm just going to leave an equal amount of negative space around it. It feels so weird not being square or 35mm.
It's cool. Maybe you could leave it rectangular and then offset it. I don't know. I really like it though. It's very cool. Love this picture. Very simple but really interesting.
Yeah, and
the light on the edges of on the rock. It's really cool.
Yeah, is that rock? Because that's what I'm wondering. Like, where are we? That can't be rock, right? This looks like it's... I don't know what that is.
Yeah. Well,
but so framing techniques like this help provide context. We cover that in chapter 2. Night photography in a city again. Very nice lines here.
I would put this in black and white. Let's try it. The
Okay.
lines are so strong.
Yeah, I think they can work. You want to get rid of some of this up here, right?
Oh, I like it. It balances the picture.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Oh, whoa.
You
those cool lights.
always got to play with the white balance. And whoa. Okay, so we have some really cool lights in here that were just being hidden at first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the white balance down to the point where I can tolerate it. And then I'm going to try to bring those blues up some. Let's see. Okay, we could be a lot more precise about this.
That's cool.
Bring up the shadow some. Okay, so
Wow.
I'm just gonna bring the greens down a little. Like,
yeah, the greens are a little crazy.
Why? Okay. So before and after.
Wow.
I just made it pop a little. I didn't know these were here, but once we discovered that, and I was complaining that there was nothingness up here, clearly they could see these lights with their eyes and their camera didn't capture it. This is a good time to bracket that shot, do some HDR, because these are hidden in the shadows and they almost would have been lost. Shooting raw helps, but HDR is the best way to expand the dynamic range of your camera. Chapter 11. Here we have symmetry. This looks like a mangrove. Is that the right word?
Looks like a river, swamp. Looks like a wetland to me.
Needs a focal point. We need a guy in a canoe. I imagine this person's in a canoe or something, right? We need somebody going through this.
I don't think they're in a canoe.
You don't think so?
There would be ripples.
If you say so.
I know. I'm actually a ripple expert, so I would know.
So I like the shot. You went for symmetry. It is a great spot. My eye wanders around. So I would love to see a focal point added. Wow. I've definitely recognized this from Ansel Adams photos. I don't even want to hazard a guess as to the location because I'm always wrong about locations.
This is Yellowstone.
Oh boy.
And
You're going to be so wrong and people are going to get so irritated with you.
I can tell it's Yellowstone because there are trees and rocks. And it's gorgeous.
So I feel like I need to make it pop a little bit because when I first saw it, it felt a little flat to me.
You brought out the shadows a little in the foreground.
Yeah.
That looks good.
And I'm going to let you in on something. Ansel Adams processed the heck out of his pictures. This guy didn't have Photoshop. He was in the darkroom dodging and burning everything.
Well, so here's the thing. I'm taking that film class now, and my professor is a darkroom junkie, and they burn and dodge and manipulate the picture to the best of their ability in the darkroom. It's really funny because people judge Photoshop. Oh, you're a purist, you don't use Photoshop. But from the beginning, photography has been about manipulating what you see. So you can't really be ashamed of that, right?
Yeah, but you're not even really necessarily manipulating what you see. You're manipulating what the camera captures to record what you see because you know this scene, well, first it wasn't in black and white. So already just by going to black and white, we're manipulating it pretty severely. But your eye detects so much more contrast and detail than your camera possibly can. So sometimes you have to kind of change your picture to make it similar to what you remember it as. So I don't know. Maybe you like.
They remember.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm defending a little bit of editing in landscape photos.
Let's crop it. A lot of bush to the right.
I'm not touching that. Yeah, I think we just want a hint of that because it was so bright that that's all you could see because it's overexposed.
Yeah, but the thing is now we don't have the layers. Before we had the foreground, the middle ground, the background, we just crop them out. Maybe we have to go vertical with it or something.
I do not know what you mean.
Yeah.
Like that?
I think we have to specialize the crop. Unlock it.
Alright,
Yeah,
it's pretty crazy.
That to the left.
Like that?
That's, I think, better.
I think I'll pull the layer.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay.
Needs a focal point.
Yeah, it just needs that one other thing in there.
A deer.
A deer or a V of geese or, yeah, like a dead guy.
Definitely. definitely a dead guy.
All right.
Hey.
I applaud this. I have taken so many shots of boats at night that didn't turn out at all, because you don't know this, but these big boats seem to be still, but they are always moving around. And if you try to take a picture of more than like a quarter second, they're all blurry and moving.
Yeah, but is this one of our boats from the Coast Guard right down the street from us?
I don't recognize this location, and I'm pretty sure.
on that flag on the boat. Is this the U.S.
man.
Coast Guard? What?
Well, I'm just saying, I think other towns have a Coast Guard.
Yeah, but it looks
And I don't recognize any of this.
Yeah, but they travel, these Coast Guard people. Come on.
Oh, you're thinking this is one of our town's boats in a different location.
Yeah.
All right. I don't,
our town's not that
do you
nice.
know 37?
Well, I thought you could zoom in on that little emblem and see if it has a name.
And that's, let me see.
Yep. Definitely can't read it. Well, anyway, I'm getting distracted. It's cool. I like the lights. The sky just needs to be cleaned up a little bit.
I think better a little cooler. Great exposure, nice, great shot. There's some noise in the sky, and I would almost recommend using. Normally, I'd recommend using a longer shutter speed, shooting at ISO 100, or doing HDR. But you can't do that with a boat in the water because it's going to be moving. So you're stuck with whatever the slowest shutter speed you can get, without introducing too much motion. So you nailed it. I lost Chelsea. I am going to pull those blacks down a little bit just to introduce a little more contrast in it. That'll help eliminate some of the noise too. But great shot, great spot.
Cool.
Oh, this yak is adorable. And again, with these wildlife photos,
Black and white it.
you have to wait for that +1 thing. You can't just take a picture of an animal. You have to get them doing something. And he's seems to be licking the snot out of his nose. Okay, I'll zoom back, but I love the way he's licking himself there. It's almost like that lizard. I'm just gonna humor her.
Bring up the shadows. Go into the reds or the oranges. Bring those up. Now sharpen it. Clarity.
Clarity?
Clarity.
Right, better here, and better here. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I do like it in black and white. Let's see.
Because he has this a lot of texture in his hair, you know?
Yeah, so the clarity will help highlight the texture in his hair. I love the nice high key background there. In fact, I might even pull the whites up a little and just solidly blow it out. Yeah. So that's something to think about with the processing. Just bring it out a little bit more. He is adorable. I'm not sure it's a yak. I'm sure YouTube will correct me. Gorgeous spot. I'm sorry, I'm trying to place it again. I feel like I've been here, but I'm not sure enough. Beautiful picture. My eye kind of wanders around. I'm interested in the architecture here, but my eye doesn't land anywhere. So I kind of wish it landed somewhere. I feel like we just need a woman leaning out of this balcony and holding a long red scarf, or I don't know.
That's imaginative.
A yak over here licking his nose. Oh. It needs a focal point. And in a town like this, you're going to be presented with just beautiful architecture everywhere, and you just have to do something to find that one focal point. So you just have to keep looking for it. But nice light, nice composition, great spot. Statues, that's a tough one. I love the relationship between the shadow and the subject here. What are you doing over there?
I'm looking up Coast Guard boats.
Oh, boy.
I get distracted easily.
So I want to balance the picture between the two parts of the subject, which are the statue and the shadow. So I'm going to crop it down a little bit so they're kind of evenly. Don't just jump on my bandwagon. I also feel like the subject here is underexposed, so I don't care about these bricks. So I'm just going to raise the whole exposure and let those get blown out. I'm going to drop the blacks a little bit to increase the contrast a little bit. So here we have before, and here we have after. all I'm doing is just simplifying it, cropping in, bringing it, focusing on the subject, what the story is, chapter 2 of Stunning Digital Photography.
Oh, okay. You really had a strong reaction to that. Right?
Yeah, it just zoomed in farther than I expected, but there is a lot of grain. I think there's some high ISO going on there, though I can't see the settings. I'm not getting any of the settings this time for some reason. Oh, I did have the settings, I just wasn't seeing them. Okay, so we're at 1/60th of a second, ISO 800. You definitely could have shot that at half that, 1/80th of a second with an 85mm camera. Better yet, put it on a tripod and shoot at ISO 100. That'll help eliminate the noise. I also feel like we need to just ask yourself, what's the subject here? And to me, when I look at this picture, all I see are these 2 pink flowers. I think that's the subject. I think we really need to pull in on that subject, or whatever the subject is going to be. But pick your subject and make that the picture, and try to eliminate anything that's not your subject. So I think even just pulling in tighter makes it a much more compelling picture, but be equipped with your camera equipment too. You know, for something like flowers, you generally have to have some extension tubes. You have to get really, really close. Something to think about. Lots of statues this week. I love the contrast here. Nice dark background. The statue here is getting nice and bright. I'm going to pull it up just a little bit more. Following the rule of thirds and the rule of space. Plenty of room in front of her. Technically, no problems. ISO 100. Nicely done. She's not looking at anything. It'd be nice if we could see where she was looking, or if there was something else there. It's another one of those pictures that kind of needs the one extra thing. Anything to add, Chelsea?
No, I think it's a nice composition.
Did you find your Coast Guard?
I didn't. Oh, this is a nice picture.
Yeah, this is just beautiful. Wow.
Yeah, great. What a lovely picture. I love the reflections and the colors and the textures. I love the gradient in the sky. It's beautiful.
Yeah, great spot. I can't think of anything to add. The reflections are great. Nicely done.
Home.
That's a good sign. I can't nitpick your picture. Nicely done. Oh, beautiful sky. I love the foreground here. This is like an HDR shot, or they raise the shadows a bunch.
I would crop it a tiny bit. Crop off the bottom a little bit.
Yeah, it does feel like there's a little much of the foreground here. I think the sky is a little more compelling than the ground. I mean, it wouldn't necessarily be the case if there was something else there.
That's a little too tight for me.
What do you think? Are you still trying to put the sun over there? You like the sun centered?
I was trying to get the horizon and about the bottom third, which I think it is now.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think it looks good.
Let's see.
And I like the colors.
Before, after. I don't know. I mean, there's something to the original composition with, the super wide angle, 16 millimeters on a full frame camera.
Actually, I don't think I would have taken off so much. Maybe just a little bit. It's just long enough where...
We can't fix it with cropping. What we're saying is we need something down here because there's all this space. So you need some flowers or a yak or
you could do panoramic type.
A Coast Guard boat.
You could leave... You could...
Okay. I still feel like part of what's compelling about the picture is the forced perspective of the super wide angle that kind of makes everything interesting. And so I'm saying I like the 16 millimeters. I just wish if you're shooting at 16 millimeters like this guy is on a full frame camera, you have to have something in the foreground. You have to have something really close to the camera, like within a foot of the camera, or everything is just going to disappear and you're going to lose all the details. So you just need something there. You have to find a foreground subject first and then work out your background when you're shooting wide angle. Often with telephoto, really it works the opposite. He's adorable. Oh, look at all that detail.
He's really cute.
Kiss his little nose. Yeah. He's cute. He's exhausted. I feel like we could pull in a little tighter. But great shot. Not much to change there. Nicely done.
I wouldn't love that shot.
Oh, she's adorable. Once again, the way my eyes go, I went right to her eyes, and then she's looking down, and so I went to see what's in her hands. I think she's holding a Christmas ornament, mostly because she's wearing a little Santa outfit. Oh my goodness, she's adorable. I kind of want to see those whites, nice and white. It's just a minor tweak. This is a really, really cute shot. Nicely done. I wish I could see a little better of what's in her hands, but the photographer nailed this. You did this perfectly. Oh. Chickadee.
I love chickadees.
So I'm just going to balance the negative space around the subject here. You can see, look at the space above the head and the space below the feet. So we can pull that in a little bit. You know, oops, I'll unlock that again. All right, we're going to try this crop all over again. There we go. Whoops, too much. So just again, striving to get some balance between the space below him and the space above him, and leave a little rule of space there. Looking at the histogram, the background is almost white, but not quite right. We might as well make it white. We're not losing anything, and the subject's a little bit underexposed anyway, so I'm going to pull the exposure up quite a bit. And I want to see plenty of detail in those dark feathers. Well, me personally, I always end up pulling up the shadows, because either you blow out the highlights in the white or you lose all this shadow detail. So again, before and then after. Just a little crop. You see, I often do a little bit of crop. You could use some noise reduction in here too. We're at ISO 1600, which is a high ISO. You could certainly shoot this, well, I don't know, 300 millimeters. You know what I would do? I would shoot it at ISO 800 and 1/200th or 1/250th of a second and take a ton of shots. Maybe I'd even try like 1/125th and shoot 100 shots, and you'll get one sharp. Even though you're violating the reciprocal rule, even if you don't have IS, just keep shooting and you'll get one shot that turns out. A chickadee, they're not shy. They're going to keep coming by to visit you, so you can just keep shooting and shooting and shooting. He is a beautiful subject. Once again, this is the strangest border I've ever seen. I'm going to crop that out. I'm also going to just pull in closer to the subject because there's nothing important in the background. All we really care about here is this beautiful deer, elk.
No.
I've completely lost Chelsea. She's on her phone. All right, guys, I'm on my own here.
You're good.
Level the horizon. Strong vertical lines, both with the horizon and the building, so it just has to be precisely level. Beautiful spot, gorgeous contrast. You can still see detail in the sky, which is so important with night shots. I'm going to pull the shadows up just to show even more detail in it. I don't even know that that's necessary. Nice 30-second exposure. Just, yeah, this is a beautiful shot.
Yeah,
we're going to zoom in
shot.
a little tighter with the cropping tool. Well, congrats. This is a fantastic shot. No technical problems whatsoever. Fantastic spot. I love the reflections in the water.
Yeah, and I love the buildings on the right, how they're ascending.
Yeah, and you know what? This shot started out, I'll show you how it started out. It started out looking like this. And probably wait with the shadows way down. I bet it started out like this, like all sorts of like warm, probably like weird colors. And somebody definitely fixed the color on this. Because no city, what? I'm sorry, I ruined your picture. Yeah. No city has nice, cool colors like that. So somebody fixed that, and I appreciate the time you put into that.
I saw this picture somewhere, and I liked it. It's a little building.
But there's a giraffe there.
Well, it's a statue.
Oh. All right. I just thought this was like a neighborhood with a giraffe in it.
Maybe it's not a statue. It is an offense.
I do not know what's going on here. This looks like a colorful dentist chair over here. I can definitely see why somebody wanted to take a picture of this. What is going on with this building? All right, but I'm interested in the photography. I am really bugged by this guy here, so I might try to compose it so that this odd obstruction isn't in the frame. I can kind of do some of that with cropping, so I'll try pulling that out a little bit and just pulling it in. There's so much going on in the picture, I think I might ask myself, what's the subject of the picture? And you can't just say the whole building. You have to say what's interesting about the building and illustrate that in a photo. Looks like a mockingbird.
Yeah, that's pretty.
Yeah,
It's a
really
little bit
beautiful
too much
shot,
negative
nice
space.
background. Yeah.
I'll crop it in a little bit and make the focus more the bird.
Yeah, I'm totally a croposaurus today, but I'm going to go ahead and pull this in, crop it down tight. That's what people like in wildlife photos, and there's nothing especially compelling in the background, but I guarantee you it needs some sharpening too.
You've got a good catchlight in the eyes, that's nice.
Yeah, you have the sun to your back, and that's so key. I see so many shots where the bird is just in completely shadow, but you nailed that.
And the bird's in profile, which is something that's especially important to you, Tony.
If you're going to include this much of the background, there has to be something going on back there, and the background's pretty, but the subject is the bird, so you should fill the frame with your subject. Whoa!
What a beautiful picture.
Yeah, it really is. And we talk a lot about having a focal point, and this bird
they got it.
is
They got the sun,
that.
they got the bird, they got the foreground.
And I know they didn't just pull out their phone and take a snapshot. No. They took a bunch of pictures, and in one of them, this bird happened to be there, but they exhibited patience. They didn't put the bird there. They used patience.
Yeah, it's a
and
great
patience
picture.
paid off, and that bird finally came
Tony,
around.
Look, the horizon's level.
Yeah, they nailed the horizon. They are using the camera that I'm constantly drooling over, the D800E. No anti-aliasing filter. Best sensor in the world. I'm pretty jealous. Fantastic shot. I am thinking about cropping it, but you know, I love it. Nicely done. Congrats. Fantastic.
Tim Corner, we know him.
Yes, we do.
I like that he made the processing rustic, like the sign.
Yeah, you're right. You stuck with the mode.
I think the colors are a bit oversaturated, and then I would maybe lower that saturation. Maybe the vibrance. I like it though. We'll play around with that a little bit.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind adding something to it. If there were a little girl with an old school like soda fountain, glass of Coke and a big straw, and she were drinking in front of the sign, that would definitely add something to it. I know what I'm saying. Another mockingbird. This is oddly similar to the other one. I would prescribe.
Come on, Croposaurus.
Yeah, I would prescribe the same set of actions. Here we go. I would crop it because that's my subject, and it could use some sharpening too.
Which way would you crop it? The way that the bird's looking, or away from the bird?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I was doing kind of a quick job of it, but okay. We actually need to get a little closer to the bird. We're using a 300mm lens on a T3i. That's a 1.6x conversion, so we're at 480mm. First, okay, well, your shutter speed's okay. Get closer to the bird. Chapter 8, Studying Digital Photography. I show you how to get within a few feet of a mockingbird like that. Is that a mockingbird? I'm not sure now. Beautiful landscape, Tony. Yeah. There's definitely some work done on the sky there, but wow, this pond really makes the picture. I love the reflection there. Nicely done. I am at a loss. I think you nailed it. I wouldn't change anything.
Yeah.
Beautiful spot.
That's good.
Wow, what a perfect picture of a dragonfly. They can be a really challenging subject. Sometimes they hold perfectly still, and then sometimes you can chase them around for hours, and they never hold still for this split second that it takes your camera to focus. He's using the 100 to 400 that I owned for about 11 years before buying my prime lens. beautiful fall colors in the background. Really nice shot. Perfect settings. You got a nice sharp shot at 1/200th. I wouldn't dare go any slower than that, but you're at ISO 125 anyway. I see absolutely no noise. Everything technical and aesthetic about this picture is perfect. So very nicely done.
My one complaint with the picture is that some of the form of the dragonfly is lost because you have so many leaves and so many distracting elements in the background. And that can be really difficult. The background maybe isn't completely complementary. So I think they did a really good job with what they had. But I think it's about putting some time in and just capturing the right moment. Well, this is the scariest thing I've ever seen.
Wow. I can't zoom in any closer, but...
Do it like sepia, kind of like agey. Oh, that's so creepy. Yeah, that's really creepy. I don't even know what to tell you. I feel like you're going for creepy. You nailed creepy.
Congrats, you're a creep. Kidding. I don't know. I'm not sure that maybe all the darkness actually helps them, and I'm not sure that I mind the color either. Yeah, it's successfully is a weird kind of creepy picture. What is this scene? Do you think they set it up for the shot, or is this in like a mall's display somewhere?
What do you mean?
This is a real person and a fake baby, right?
Right.
What's going on?
I think they were like, let's make a creepy picture. You be the scariest thing ever, a clown. And then we'll get a baby doll, which is also quite scary, and add it. And
but
then
this is like an hour of work right here, just all the makeup here.
No.
And then they're on like a black background, low key. And actually, this looks like studio lighting here. Like this picture took some setup. I'm just wondering, what's the story? Dear photographer, I would love to hear what's going on in this picture. It's an odd picture. Nicely done. You set a mood and you accomplished what you're going for.
What a beautiful picture.
Yeah, this is really peaceful.
Yeah, it's really nice.
I love the boat in the foreground and these nice lines.
I do too. I wouldn't change a thing. And I love the people in the background.
Oh, really?
A sense of scale.
I was going to say, yeah, they do provide a sense of scale. They disturbed my peace a little bit. I felt like so like alone and at peace. And then I saw all these little ant people here and I kind of wanted to clone them out. But well, I guess you can go either way.
Difference of opinion.
But I love the lines and I love the subject in the foreground here. See, without this boat here, this would be a very boring shot, but they found something in the foreground. Nicely done. Okay.
What a cool, creepy picture.
Yeah, it really is. This picture has a whole lot of depth. It uses framing. It provides this really interesting context of where you are. And there's also the story, because this is somebody's poster or tapestry that was hung, 50 years ago, and it's just been wearing down ever since. And you just wonder, like, what is the story going on here? There's a history to this place. I really love the shot. It's one of my favorite shots so far. I know this is not a picture of something pretty. It's something that most people would skip past, but I really find the shot compelling. So thank you for shooting that. Half a second, you brought your tripod out. Thank you even more. And you really set it up and you thought about it, and this is a tricky exposure too. Nicely done.
Wow, so many statues today.
Yeah, and that's challenging. This needs something.
Well, they got a good exposure, the light's right. I like that they use the rule of thirds, but it is kind of just floating in the middle of nowhere, right? There's no context.
Right. Yeah, we need something else because, again, I can see her eyes are so prominent in the picture that I immediately look to what's she looking at, and there's nothing over there. So we need the sun or a big poofy cloud or some birds flying through or a yak.
Like the one on the left is like, wait a minute. And
wait, I gotta play I'm gonna play my trumpet just a minute. The trust fall and nobody's there catching her. Are you like, no, don't fall just, yeah. Oh wait, this is her foot. She's tripping this lady. And right off the edge of that cliff. Jerk.
This is a gorgeous
Oh.
Tijo. Did I say it right? Tijo. This is a gorgeous picture. I love the lighting. I love that you didn't make the lighting completely smooth and try to mask any of her wrinkles. You accentuated them and you really captured her character. And the reflection is beautiful.
Oh.
I love this picture so much. It's really beautiful. I wouldn't change a thing. Not one thing.
Yeah, and I've been talking a lot about eyes today, and you see her and you see her eyes, and so your eyes go here, and then you're rewarded. There's something there, her reflection. There's not nothing there. You get a reflection. Though I'm going to just experiment with the crop because I feel like I want a little bit better balance between her and her reflection. So I'm just going to try to pull this in from the right a little bit. What do you think?
I like the original. It gives you more context.
Fantastic shot, Teal. Oh, an iPhone shot. Well, it's awfully small. There's a lot of story here. She's got the bandana that we often see, and she's in a wheelchair. So I feel like it actually looks like she has. I don't know. You think this is like a chemotherapy picture?
It does. I think this
That's my first take on it.
Moving picture.
And her eyes are looking off camera, but we get a sense of that she's looking out the window, mostly because of the lighting. The lighting provides some important context for us, and I think there's a compelling story there. I think she's thinking about being outside. She's probably doesn't want to be in the wheelchair. It's almost looking at longing, and that matches her expression. They've added some processing to it that helps to accentuate that mood. Nicely done. There's a lot that went into that picture. Whoa. I gotta zoom back. This guy's pretty intense for me. What do you think? He's got a blue moon there? I've never seen a beer glass with oranges all over it. Woo! You can't look too long at this guy. This guy is trouble. No, this guy needs all the color. Wow. I nailed it. What can I say about this? This guy is a character.
Your reaction was really bizarre. I'm gonna say that. I mean, it's a weird picture, but it really struck a chord with you. This guy's drunk, and this is pretty much what I look like when I'm doing these reader reviews. So, let's move on. They nailed it.
All right, his hair is a little bit nicer than yours.
I agree.
This is a nice flower photo. We do see a lot of flower photos. This one, you can see the flower itself is nice and big and prominent. There's zero distractions in the background, no noise. Nice and clean shot. It feels a little soft to me. I want to fix that, and the best I can do is with some sharpening. I think that helps a little bit. Otherwise, I think it's a hyper creative photo.
Oh no! How did we get here? What? Dear God, what is happening? Is that
This
a giraffe? What is
is
this long-necked spooky creature?
well, yeah, I understand.
It's a dinosaur, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, it's what is, maybe it's an okapi? What else would have a neck that long?
Nobody knows.
I don't think it's a giraffe.
Well, they got a good
It seems
action
to have,
picture.
yeah, this is a really compelling shot. I love the lighting in it. He's backlit, but with that ridge of fur that these hyenas have, it just highlights it. It creates room lighting. It highlights it. And I love the way the light is hitting the dust here, and just such great action. Again, with wildlife
Good
photos,
action.
okay, you get great points for getting a nice sharp photo, but you really need them doing something, and they nailed it. Perfect settings. Just a fantastic shot. All this done with an inexpensive lens and at a fairly close range. Must have been on a safari, because where else could you get a photo like
I want to go on safari.
this? Yes, me too. Take us with you, whoever you are.
People invited us to South Africa.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Come in. I'm just debating whether I think the processing's perfect as is. Little bit of trivia: hyenas look like dogs, actually members of the cat family. We didn't figure that out until just recently when we could do some genetic analysis, and actually it's their jaws that give them away. They don't have the jaws of a dog. Parrots also part of the cat family.
Those are parrots.
You think well, they're in the parrot family. What are they, cockatoos or?
They're cats.
Yeah, you're right. They're feline.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
But that guy loves them. And
well, it's tragic because he died moments later.
What's the sad story?
He was eaten to death by these terrible, terrible cats.
Yeah.
We're tired. This happens.
Well, yeah, we're tired.
I don't know.
Let's
There's
put it in
interesting
black
things
and
going
white.
on.
You know what? For old time's sake, just do me a solid.
Memories.
And I like it better like this.
Yeah.
Brings up the bird. What?
Oh, all right. Well, this is a nice story. Again, if this guy wouldn't have been here, I would have been like, great shot, you need a focal point. We have a focal point.
Yay, man.
Our eye goes right here, and then
You
we
know
see his
what?
eyes,
I
and he's
think he took
facing
the
into the
picture.
open side of the space.
I think that's the
You think he
photographer.
made himself the model and stuck it
Yeah.
on a tripod? Yeah, it's on a tripod. He's at 1 second. And that's nice because he did f16 to get plenty of depth of field. And he shot it at ISO 100 to eliminate any noise. So this is a thoughtful picture. I appreciate it. Nice spot. You made yourself a model and gave it the landscape a focal point. Perfectly done. I felt the need to crop it in a little bit. But
like you do.
you know, maybe the processing could be toned down a little bit. I feel like all the blues and such are a little rich.
I could agree with that.
But I really appreciate the effort that you put into it. You thought it through. Go.
Vladimir.
I like this a lot too. Here we're following the rule of thirds. There's an awful lot of depth here. Shot at a nice wide angle on our favorite camera, the Mark III.
Is this Russia? There's that Russian building.
Oh, well,
Wow,
yeah.
different
We know
point of
Vladimir.
view.
Yeah, and what?
Oh, this is Vladimir.
Yeah. What
Hi,
fascinating. Vlad. Great architecture.
Very
I
cool.
want to just tweak the color. No, you had it right. All right. My apologies. Great shot. I like this. My only gripe is I feel like you handheld this at night. You're shooting at ISO 3200, even with the Mark III, which is pretty clean. I'd like to see this at ISO 100. Longer shutter speed also would have blurred these cars a little bit, made them a little less prominent, allowed us to focus better on the architecture. Also, I kind of want to see these buildings over here. Look at that.
Yeah, those are beautiful.
Makes
He
me want to
does
go to
have-
Russia.
He has beautiful pictures of those buildings.
I know you said you didn't have a lot of room in your house, but
You want to go?
I'll sleep on Vlad's couch.
He said he didn't have a couch. He had a gerbil cage.
Oh, I gotta draw the line somewhere. This is a member of the sparrow family that I can't immediately identify. I certainly can't crop it any tighter. It might actually be a little bit tight. I feel like he's a little close to this, but he's cute. He's doing something. He's got a seed. He's in a nice profile there. Perfectly exposed. You did it. Very nicely done. Though that's at 50 millimeters. How did you manage that? Are you bumping the bird with your lens?
It's really cropped.
Yeah.
That's why it's so. It's like out of focus.
It's cropped at a small sensor camera, but yeah, you're right. It's a little bit soft. Nicely done, though. Great exposure. Wow.
Wow, that's creepy.
Oh, yeah. It's so hard to get a great shot of something like this.
This reminds me of that movie Grey Gardens. You know what I'm talking about?
Not immediately, but I was a little distracted by that piece of red there. That's all I could see, and I wasn't sure what it was. So maybe it's an important part of the story, but I'm not understanding it right away. But mood Mood is something a lot of people forget, and a collapsing building like this has a particular mood, and it's not happy and sunny. No, it's dark and gloomy. So they reinforce that mood with a couple of different things. The sky itself is kind of intense. It just looks like an overcast sky, but through processing, they brought out the intensity of the sky, and through the starkness of the composition, they brought out the gloominess of the mood. Really nicely done.
I love that picture.
Ah, wow. Again, focal point, something we reinforce over and over again. If this guy weren't here, this would be it would be a pretty picture, but it would be kind of boring. So goodbye, guy. Why would you do that? Sorry for the cloning job I did there. I'm not trying to be obscene. So there we go. Good picture here. Great picture. Throw a focal point in there. Everything's aligned with a rule of thirds. Chelsea's just chuckling. Nice 10-second exposure too. I can't believe that guy held so still for 10 seconds.
Those
Nicely done.
fishermen, they really like to conserve their energy. I like this picture. It's an interesting pose that the bird has.
Yeah.
It's a little bit hot in the neck, so I would take down the highlights a little bit.
Yeah, I can't do that here because of JPEG, but if you were shooting RAW, we'd be able to pull some feather detail out of here.
Shoot raw.
And expose through highlights.
And I
Gotta
like the background, that teal
watch
color.
your exposure with these white birds. But yeah, I
Really
love the
nice.
color here. I kind of want to crop it a little bit more closer to the subject. Very nicely done. Cute picture.
That's it, Tony.
That's it. Thank you so much. You can submit your pictures at sdpcommunity.com. Of course, you have to have bought Stunning Digital Photography or our DVD set. Both are for sale at the store there. Thank you, and see you next week.
So that was the news and our reviews.
See you next week, and remember, don't take it, make it.